This is where I'm going to put my bucket garden right here. This is the north side of my north garden, and so that way is south. And I picked this area because this area gets at least 8 hours of sunshine every day. It actually gets closer to 9, I think. So this is going to be perfect. Now, another great thing about it here is that I've got one side that's already fenced. And I have a real horrible bear and deer problem here. It's just unbelievable. And so I have to fence in everything. So this is good that I've got one side already fenced, and I just need to close off these 3 sides. So what I've done is I've mowed this already, and I'm going to weed whack that. Now I don't want to have to mow this again, and I certainly don't want to weed whack around like 30 5-gallon buckets. So I'm going to lay a tarp. And I decided on a heavy duty tarp instead of black plastic, because with black plastic you don't have the sewn edges around, and so it's just easier to lay a tarp down. And so I've got a 12 by 20 tarp that I'm going to put right here for these 30 buckets. Okay, so I laid my tarp down, and this area is going to be, I've decided on 12 feet by 16. So I think that's going to be plenty of room to put all of my buckets in here. This tarp is 20 feet. I could go 20 down there, but I think that's overkill. I just wanted this section just for the buckets. So 12 by 16 I think is going to work. It's going to be tight, but it'll work fine. So I'll put another post here at 8 feet, one in this corner here at 16, and then one at 6, and then 6 foot to this post here. Now on that side there, I put the 2 sections, one is 8 feet and one is 4. The reason being is that 4-foot section over there is going to be my gate. Now these posts here, they're 10 footers, and I only went down 2 feet, and I did not cement them in because I might want to take them out. If I want to move this garden out of here, it's good enough they can stay for many years, but also they're easy to remove if I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on with these posts, and then when that's all done, we'll go ahead and start putting the fencing on. Okay, so I did decide to go the full 20 feet, so it's 12 feet by 20. And these cross pieces on the fence, I do still need to stain those. Even though we're not going to be getting any rain, what's equally damaging, of course, is the hot sun. If they're not stained, the hot sun will warp those big time. So I need to get them stained. And I started the fencing down there. I should stain them before I do the fencing, but I just wanted to get that in there because I wanted to get these planted. So I did not show, of course, how I did this fencing. I'll put some links below to videos I've done previously on how I built this type fencing. So you can just watch that if you want to know. So I'm going to go ahead and complete the fencing on it all the way around. And then when I'm done, I need to do a door, and then I'm going to start the planting into the 5-gallon buckets. Okay, that was a job in 95-degree weather, but it's mostly done. I do have to paint or stain the rails, and I'll do that when it cools off a little bit. But the whole bucket garden area is pretty much done. I've got these 5-gallon buckets that I've used for many years, and I think I have the stack I got this out of. I've been using for about 5 years, and they do really well if you make sure that when you're done with them for the summer, clean them out and put them in the shade or somewhere like in a shed or something so the sun doesn't get to them. Just limit the amount of exposure they get to the sun because they will eventually break down. I've got a few of them that I've got for about 10 years, and they've started to break right around here and get brittle where it's thin. So you just want to kind of limit the exposure, use them for the summer, then put them away. This one, like I said, this is about the 5th year that I've been using this one. Now these are 5-gallon, of course, and what I've done is I've put holes in the bottom. I believe this was a 1/2-inch drill that I used, and so I've got 5 holes here. You can put as many as you want, but I'd say use at least 5 holes, and they'll drain well. So I've got 30 buckets, 5-gallon buckets that I'm going to be planting this year with the dwarf tomatoes. And so what I did was, since I can't generate enough compost myself, so I had to go get a load of mix. Now what I've got here, this is what I used last time when I did the dwarfs, and they loved it. This here is a mixture of peat moss, pumice, compost, and a little bit of fertilizer. And so that's the only 4 things in this mix. It's completely soilless. There's no soil in this whatsoever. The reason why you don't want to use soil is because what happens with soil when you have buckets or small containers, as you water it, it just keeps compacting and it gets harder and harder. So pretty soon you can just, like, in the middle of the summer, you could tap on it. It's almost like rock hard. And I've tried using it before, and I've put a lot of vermiculite with it, and it still compacted. It wasn't aerated enough. So you want to make sure that you use soilless mix. So again, this is peat moss and pumice, compost, and a little bit of fertilizer. Now, instead of the peat moss, if you are concerned about using peat, which I know some people are, and that's fine, you could substitute coconut coir. And then for the pumice, you could substitute vermiculite. You know, X is the same thing. It aerates the soil. And then, of course, you need the compost. That's going to add some nutrients to it. And then a little bit of the fertilizer. That's going to get them going for a while. It'll get them probably for the first month or 2. And then I'll be fertilizing them with organic fertilizer over the course of the growing season. But for now, this is the mix that I've got. I went and got a yard of it. They're going to be very close together because I've got a small area that I'm going to put them in. I want to keep them close. And so I'm going to have to do some strategy as far as making sure that they don't cross-pollinate. Now I'm going to try to put early ripening ones or early blooming ones next to later blooming ones, and so that way they don't cross. And then I will any of them that start to, if I notice they start to bloom at the same time, I'll go ahead and bag the blossoms to make sure that I get pure seed so they don't cross. So because I want to make sure that I get as pure a seed as I can, because I want to make these available on my website this fall. Now you'll notice on the buckets I have, like, they're numbered 4, 5, 6. I start at 1 and I'll go to 36, I believe. That's how many tomatoes I have in here. Well, I will have. And I didn't put the variety on the bucket because I wanted to, of course, I'll use the buckets again, and so I'd have to make sure that I put the same variety in the bucket. So I have a spreadsheet that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 36, and it tells the name of the bucket. Now, just in case the watering might wash off the Sharpie, which it probably won't, but if it does, I always put stakes in there as well. So you'll notice I've got this stake here. That's from my Domingo tomato. So I'll have those in each bucket as well, just to, if they need staking, at least I'll have a stake in each one. But most of them don't need that. So I'm going to go ahead, continue on transplanting all of the dwarf tomatoes into their buckets. This whole area right here is just for that, and I'll be ready to go for the summer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be doing another video soon in a few days and kind of giving you guys an update. All right? Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you later.